This is another one of those popular myths that keeps going around and around that we have to disperse of. Now, 6 years ago, I made a video called The Origins of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And in that video, I explained where each one of them derived from. And when I got to the part about Islam, I explained exactly why Islam never came out of Christianity. The Pope did not create Islam. It's just simply not true. If you actually wanted to study the history of Islam, then what you would find is that you did have a small sect of group, a small group, just like Christianity started as a small group who believed in this guy named Yeshua. Islam started as a small group based on a guy named Muhammad who claimed that he had revelations from Allah, right, from God. And this small group was just one of many cults amongst the Arab nation. And they weren't anything special. What made them special is that you had one of the leaders in the around Syria, Lebanon area. His name was Abdullah ibn Absabahi. And what this local ruler did, in his studying of Judaism and Christianity, he recognized the power of religion and organizing their people. And so he was the first one, and so he took up the Islam as a city-state religion. Then he started minting coins, and he was the first one to mint any coins or printed material based on Islam. So he started minting that. Now, he got into a battle with Abdullah Malik, who was actually up in Syria, with Abdullah Malik up in Syria, and those two fought. Absabahi lost, but Malik recognized how fierce Absabahi's forces were, and then he also recognized that because he was also a student of these of Christians and Judaism and how they were organized and how they controlled the population, because he had been in battle with Christians up in Turkey, up near Antioch. So, and according to your Bible, Antioch was like probably the first church ever established. This is why Christianity is said to have spread to Turkey before it went anywhere else. But anyway, Malik then organized his army and the army of Absabahi he had just conquered into Islam, and then went about conquering the Arab nation. And then after conquering the Arab nation, going into Europe and so on and so forth, and there is Islam. But Islam was never created based on the Pope creating it, but it was based on leadership of the Arab nation, the governments of the Arab nation, studying Christianity and seeing how they control the people by just having a religion and not having to have a standing army. Because if you think about it, by this time, Rome has been Christian for over 300 years, because we're talking about 680 CE. Rome had been Christian for over 300 years, and they were able to control and manage the people without having a standing army. So here's Absabahi and Malik both realizing the exact same thing, that they can control the Arab nation and bring them together under one banner, and that being Islam, because they were desert people, so they weren't going to choose Christianity or Judaism. They looked toward the Saudi Arabian Peninsula because they were desert people. And if you go to, and I've been to some of the ancient temples though back then, those temples didn't point towards Mecca, they pointed towards Jerusalem, because they did recognize the current seat of religious belief power was in Jerusalem. And since they was taking on the Old Testament, they had to make Jerusalem important. So they still had their first earlier temples pointing north towards Jerusalem out of Saudi Arabia. It wasn't until later that they started pointing them towards Mecca. But they were the ones who then went, well, not they, Malik were the ones who then went and started, with the building of the Dome of the Holy Rock, and something like that, which is a very beautiful building that I've been to before. So it's a beautiful looking building. There's a mosque next door to it. It's not actually a mosque, there's a mosque next to it. But at any rate, Islam was created because a warlord government official wanted to control the people, and he got inspiration from Judaism and Christianity. So what does that tell you? So y'all have a great day, and remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.